Hey friends, I had a beautiful thing happen yesterday, maybe it was the day before. We have a new song that Annalise is working on violin, and it's called Perpetual Motion. It's one of the Suzuki Book 1 songs. It goes on forever. And on and on. That you get back to that original part. And so what the teacher recommended was make up lyrics, make up some lyrics to this, because and it's a genius idea because helps you keep all these kind of. When I listened to this song on YouTube, I was like, wow, what a mind game, and like a focus etude, and it just sounded hard to keep, not so much to play, but to keep track of where you are. And then the teacher said, make up lyrics. And I thought, oh, that's great. Because now you kind of mark the sections with lyrics that you know. It differentiates them, and the melodies start to associate with words. Really smart. And so we did that, and we were just playing with ideas. I would throw out some ideas, and then Annalise would have an idea, and we would just kind of bat stuff back and forth. And at some point, I had said something like, I like boats and I like oceans, or something about that, or I forget what my original line was. But then Annalise volunteered lakes. I like lakes. She's thinking about Crystal Lake. And so then we came up with, I like lakes and I like oceans and I love perpetual motion. Perpetual Motion is the name of the song. And it was just such a cool experience that out of the blue, I had this feeling like, I had said oceans, but it wasn't really quite right. And then she volunteered lakes, and I was like, oh, look at, all of a sudden we have a poetic image, bodies of water, and the perpetual motion of bodies of water. It was great. And so part of me is just sharing that experience on this post today. But the other thing that showed up for me was, Annalise she's 4 years old. Like, she's thinking, the concepts are coming through here totally intuitively. And I just found it kind of, I've had that experience working with adult co-writers too, that kind of, and sometimes it's me, so you never know where that's going to come from, but sometimes just a random or seemingly random idea, disjointed idea, not necessarily, I think she was picking up on oceans, but having the image that we were trying to create be shared by two of us who neither of us knew the full image, but you put it together, you put somehow the two halves go blink, and then all of a sudden the image arrives, and it's so much greater than the individual parts. And it just reminded me of how wonderful it is to have co-writers and to have a sense of co-writing with something larger than ourselves. Because it's really kind of like we are, Rick Rubin in his book, The Creative Act, talks about this too. We are channeling ideas from who knows where, you explain it the way you want to, but they're coming from somewhere else, and they want to be manifest in the world. And sometimes all of it can come through us, one person or another. Sometimes it comes through an individual creator, but other times it's a piece here, a piece there, and you stick it all together and put it in a blender, and you've got it, and all of a sudden it gels. So there's part of me that was just really touched by having had my kind of maybe first experience of that with my daughter, but also just reminded of that fact, and to listen carefully, for me to catch what she was saying, I had to kind of listen. I had to be ready to take any word that came out of her mouth and be available for what it offered. That's sometimes the biggest, the biggest factor. Are we open? The thing we need is always right there. In creating art, the thing we need is never very far away. We may not have it in our hand, but assuming that we are producing something that is trying to come through, it's nearby. And the only thing that makes it difficult to find is either we become attached to something that is in conflict with it, and we won't let go of this, so this can't come through. So it can be right next door, knocking on the door, but it can't get through the door. Or not understanding what level of sensitivity and kind of stillness is required to let each paint drop into the water, right? Like each drop of dye drop into the water and actually see what it's doing, see how that affects the piece. So I'm reminded of that as well. In addition to this just being a really fun experience to have had, it also took me back there and made me appreciate all my collaborators, all the people I've worked with, and what they bring, that kind of thing. Piano just got tuned. Sounds good. But I got today, folks. It's nice to know that there's a co-writer out there that has infinite knowledge, infinite wit, infinite intelligence, and that literally never sleeps. We can ask them a question anytime. My 4-year-old still needs to sleep. She can't be infinitely awake, although she may try. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.